All right, thank you everybody, that was great. Continuing the parade of ideas, I want to share one thing with you. Our friends at Marin Clean Energy are doing a breakout session right now upstairs in the Battaglieri room, which is up on the second floor in this kind of back corner that way. The title is Pedal to the Metal, Myth Busting for California's Clean Transportation Future. It's Marin Clean Energy and some of the other clean energy companies in the state getting together to do that. They are starting that right now. That's going to kind of run in through our next intermission period, so if anybody would like to join them for that, please feel free. We will not be offended. People walked out on me for much worse reasons. In hearing that last late question there about AI, I was reminded of something I shared with a few people at dinner last night. The publisher of the Sacramento Observer, the great black newspaper here in Sacramento, was asked by one of his staffers if journalists are going to be made obsolete by AI, which a few of us are worried about. And he said, reporters are not going to get replaced by AI, but you might get replaced by a reporter who's good at using AI. So you might want to jump on the bandwagon and learn it. And that's the best way I can think of to describe it. It's going to help us do amazing work in journalism. We're already using it for some interesting things, which is a great transition to what I want to show you on my screen here right now. This is a tool that we rolled out earlier this year called Digital Democracy. It actually was born 10 years ago when Senator Sam Blakesley finished up his term in the state legislature, went home to San Luis Obispo, and was less than thrilled with the way money influences politics and the lack of transparency, lack of information about it that people have. And he, working with a team at Cal Poly, some of whom are here in the room today with us, built a tool called Digital Democracy. And the first version of it brought all the information about what's happening on the floor of the legislature, the hearings, the floor sessions, made all the videos searchable, made it easy to go in there and find out what your representatives were saying. Because it's really important to remember when these members of the Assembly and the Senate are up here on the stage, and the ones who would like to be in those positions or other elected officials, they actually work for us, right? We hire them and we send them to that building 2 blocks away to serve us and take care of our needs. And many people, what's the nice way to say that, don't pay enough attention to that employee that you hire every 2 or 4 years and send to Sacramento for you. So we want to make it easier. This Digital Democracy tool pulls in all the information you could possibly expect to see about members of the California State Legislature. Where their money comes from, and really nothing else matters, but where their money comes from, how they voted, their travel, the gifts they received. Most of this data is all done by automated tools that we built. This is all public government data. We're not creating something or digging up something people don't know. It's just really hard to find and hard to get all in one place. Anybody who lobbies, anybody who talks to their legislator, anybody who wants to follow what their legislator is doing, we think is going to enjoy having access to this tool. You're going to see the person I hire from the city and county of San Francisco to represent me here in Sacramento, Scott Wiener, later, so we're going to look him up. And when I search for his name, you can also, by the way, go in here. Let me actually make this more useful. Type in your address first. It can be a city, it can be a state, it can be a city, it can be a specific address. Nobody needs to know my home address here. I'm going to click on Senator Wiener. We drove our photo staff crazy. We asked them to find a photograph from each legislator's district to put on top of these pages, and we did that. This is his page. It's a really, really big baseball card. News stories that he's been in lately. We have an ideology scale that rates their place from left to right. I should clarify, this is California left to right, which is a little bit different than some other places. Some of these members wouldn't fit on either side of the scale in some other states. Bill activity, bills introduced, bills passed. What issues they lead on, you're going to hear them talk about housing today. How much money they've raised, and where that money comes from. The revenue that the candidate has taken in for their campaign from each individual sector. Here's one. Click on it, it opens up, lets you go back in more detail. See how much money they've taken in, where their gifts come from, sponsored travel, trips that are paid for, behests where a legislator arranges for a gift to something else, to another organization, the bills they have authored. Unlike some of our friends in DC, our representatives here actually generate a lot of legislation these days. The committees they're on, how interest groups rank them, other groups, how the Sierra Club feels about you, how the Conservative Union feels about you. And then we can go in and see the hearings, what they've done in the building. And I'll just open up the first one that comes in here. It's going to jump to the first place he appears in the transcript. The transcript itself is down here.
We must acknowledge that today our country is in the grips of a rapidly evolving mental health.
We are able to show on every bill that was discussed what the action was. You can go look at individual legislators. You can go look at the bills. You can really dig in on this data and really get your head around what's happening on the legislative floor, what issues you might want to talk to somebody about. Many of the legislators, if you get them off in a corner and have an honest conversation, will tell you they spend a lot of time hearing from professional lobbyists whose job it is to talk to them because it's their job, and they're here doing it 5 days a week. And they don't hear as often from their constituents, right, from people in their communities who have a voice. And when they do hear, they care, and they want to hear it, and they pay attention to it. But there are professionals, and lobbying is a noble profession. A lot of good stuff gets done, but it's, okay, you can snicker. It's not all bad, right? It is what we do. It's how government works, and it's how smart people who know what's needed help create legislation that happens. But they want to hear more from more people. And this is a tool we hope opens the door to that. It is at digitaldemocracy.calmatters.org. We'll be sharing much more about it as it grows. The fun thing about this is we're going to use this not only to inform people and our journalists, but the AI we have behind this is going to identify story ideas out of this data, changes in behavior, changes in donation patterns, different kinds of voting against party. We're also having some fun stuff where we track how many words somebody has said on the floor of the legislature. And the most talkative has become one that is so competitive right now, they're tweeting at each other about how to win it. So it's kind of fun. We're about to take an intermission. When we do that, a couple notes for you. When you walk into the lobby out here, I'm going to ask you to look up. This is an old public market. This was the public market in Sacramento. If you're staying in this hotel, there's a photo in each room of it. That's why there's this beautiful dome ceiling out there. It created the environment in which we can have this wonderful area outside the meeting room, and where our amazing visual journalism partners at Catchlight have built the photo display that you can see of what the Catchlight local fellows are doing, local journalism in California that wouldn't be possible without Catchlight enabling this for us and for lots of other publishers. So take a look at that around you as you head out. That Marin Clean Energy transportation thing is going on in the breakout room upstairs, and we will have a 20-minute intermission. We'll be back at 10:40 right here in your seats. Thanks very much.